I played junior and then pro hockey for 22 years. And then one day, after my 39th birthday, I woke up in a hospital because I was too drunk to walk down a hallway. Hockey has this drinking culture that nobody really talks about. And I was in it deep for 22 years, full on. This video is what it looks like from the inside and what it took me to get out of it. I was 15 years old when I played my first year of junior hockey in the BC Hockey League. So I was immersed into this culture right away. And don't get me wrong, I had full control, as much as a 15-year-old can have, but I had no problem getting right into it. And right away, I learned the motto. It was play hard, party hard. So long as you could get up the next day and go to practice and give 100%, no one gave a shit. Coaches kind of turned the other way. So long as you gave it your all and you came to play. It was almost kind of like a badge of honor. Over time, it definitely was kind of instilled in my head that this was part and parcel with me as a player. It was very connected, especially as the years went along. And I developed this kind of way of being. I was never a casual drinker, even at a young age, but all through my adulthood and my pro career, never drank at the house, never drank at dinner, had a wine or beer, one beer. It was all in, 100%. Pedal to the metal, like, until the lights, till the sunshine came up the next day, kind of thing. Like, I got a million junior stories, like some crazy ones that I look back at them and it really opens my eyes to how really out of control, far gone it was. But it just seemed normal at the time. And I was the life of the party. I was a fun drunk, if you will. I played with guys that were, flipped the switch and became demons. I wasn't like that. I thought that, I was a good time and I had a good time doing it. And yeah, it just developed over the years. And by the time I got to Japan, it was kind of, I was a veteran at this. And the Japan years, it really took a whole nother level. We would be on the road and we'd play Saturday, Sunday night. And after the Sunday night game, it was straight to the bar. And we actually got it so down pat. We would shut all the places down and go to the after hours places. And we would pack our suitcase up before we went out and have one change of clothes ready to go. And we would roll into the hotel in the daylight in the morning, grab our stuff, change our clothes, run down to the shuttle, the bus, rip it to the airport, get on the plane, back to Tokyo. And we even had, I remember the train station, we would stop on the way back to our houses right in the middle of town, and it was called Tokurozawa, and there was a Burger King there. And I would religiously go down the stairs into that Burger King, get sick a lot of the times, get a burger, and then go home and play dad. Like, it was crazy how I managed to do this for all those years. Part of me wants to tell all the different stories because it really shows how out of control and how it can become. But I'd be here all day, man. I literally could write a book with all the different stories, good, bad, and ugly. Like, a lot of them are funny and stuff, but really crazy stuff. And it really was right from frickin' 15 to 37, man. It was like full on the whole time. It was really was nuts. When I retired in '06, I think it was, I was coming off of doing this for so long and was in a really odd place. I started a little business, which I knew nothing about, and I was still living this in my head, this old way of life, but I had no games to go to, no hockey buddies to go out with after the game, and it was a really strange, dark place. And then the '08 crash happened, and lost the business, lost all my investments, lost my 3 properties, my house, lost everything. And I was still in this kind of mode without the hockey. It was a really weird, confusing time for me. And I was crashing hard. I remember I was actually selling cars and just in a real dark place, man. And I realized without the hockey, it wasn't that the hockey was the reason anymore. So there was something else going on with me. During this darkest time for me, my wife organized a surprise 39th birthday party for me. And it was really nice of her. I had old Wally friends from right kindergarten, kids I grew up with. I had them there. She found and invited them. I had old hockey buddies and teammates there. It was really nice. And it really brought out some joy because of how dark things were. And everybody was at our house and we were having a great time, and shots come out, and then I get in that mode again and we're playing drinking games and all that stuff, having a great time. And I remember I was chasing my oldest boy, Van, down the hallway. And as you start going through the hallway, there's this wall with a beam. And I started falling forward, but I was so drunk that I just let it happen. I didn't resist. And I started running forward, and I was basically doing the rhino head first. I did right into that beam, knocked myself out cold, and they thought I broke my neck, and so they called the ambulance. And I woke up the next morning in the hospital with one of those things on my neck. And my wife and my daughter on the bed next to me, looking at me. And I remember that look. You know, my daughter had seen, we'd had parties at the house all through my playing career, so she's seen this, but this was I don't know, different look, man. I received it differently. And it was at that moment I said to myself, I can't do this anymore. I gotta I gotta do something about this, man. Now, after that moment, I didn't check into rehab. I didn't have this cold turkey mentality. I just knew I had to make a change. And I started doing little things like making sure I just wasn't in the environment that kind of got me going. So I stopped going to dinners, and people wanted to go out and just meet for a couple, and I just wouldn't go. I started saying no, and I became a bit of a party pooper, but that's just kind of how I started things. And then I'd meet up with an old hockey buddy and I have a couple, and then I would say I gotta go. And so I hadn't quit cold turkey, but I was on the right path, I thought. As time started rolling, I started to develop some momentum. And I think this is where the athlete and discipline kick in, because once I started saying no, once I started doing this, it became kind of like my thing. And I just kind of buried my feet in the sand and planted myself and said, this is what I'm doing now. And then, 1 month led to two, and it just kept going. And next thing you know, I'm not really drinking. And I think the last time when it was really done is I was with the Jets organization, and the first year the American League team went to the Calder Cup final. And we were in St. John's, and myself and the assistant coach, Mark Morrison, went out. And we lost in the final, but it was a great run. And I really enjoyed his company. So we went out and had some. And if you know St. John's, there's this place, I think it's called George Street. And if there's an anchor, that place would be it for me, because it's all party places and you could go hopping big time. And we ended up in a one place and in a quieter place and just talked about everything. And I remember nursing a beer or a Crown and Coke probably for a long time. And after I went home, I said to him, I think that is it. And haven't drank since. I don't talk about this like a lot publicly. I don't want to preach it. I don't tell my clients, the younger ones, that drinking's bad, and if you want to be an elite athlete, you can't drink, and sobriety is the only way to go. All I can say is, over a long, long period of time now, it's been a lot of years for me. It's the clarity that I wished, man, if I had that, you know, and I was as good as I was partying that hard for so long, what it would have been like if I had this clarity. It's an interesting thing. I don't look back and say, I regret everything, created who I am today. But I do wonder, you know, what it would have been like. So, in that sense, I encourage people when they do say, you know what, I think I'm gonna not drink this month or whatever. I really encourage them and support them, and I just tell my stories, and that's why I wanted to share this video today, not to preach being sober or to say, pat myself on the back that I'm sober. I just wanted to share my journey and how long it was. And some people might not see it as a problem, and it may not be a problem, but how could it be if you maybe didn't drink even half as much, controlled it better, or get to the point where I was, but in your playing career? Because I'll tell you what, me at 55, I'll be 56 here in a little bit. Ouch. But I'm way healthier now. I might not be in playing shape, but just everything about how I see things is just, it's like I said, the clarity, man. It's a world of difference now. The game is hard enough if you're trying to reach elite levels. It's hard enough on its own. And to be battling that and trying to manage that on top of things can be a real challenge. So it's something for you to just think about, right? If you're a young goalie or a young player and you're kind of in the thick of it right now, I just want you to know that you don't need to do stuff to fit in, to be part of the team. If you want to do things and you want to have a bit of a good time, I'm not telling you that you can't, or and you're not going to make it if you do, or you're going to become an alcoholic. But I just wanted you to know this stuff because it can turn into something else down the road when you're 22 years deep, like myself. And if you're someone that's outside of the game or after the game life and you're still in the thick of it, I get it. I've been there. I understand it. I just want you to know there's a clear and healthier path for you if you choose it. And it's totally doable. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be done in steps. It just takes some of that hockey mentality of discipline and sticking to something. And you can pick away at it and get to where I'm at because I am healthier and happier because of it. I just really hope that it can help someone else make a little decision that might change their lives. Yeah.